Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Hello and welcome to City Alpha 6, a Star Wars podcast here on the Nerd Party Network. I am Darren Moser, joined as always by my fellow Star Wars fanboys. No, you're not hearing it wrong. We're changing things up a little bit here on City Alpha 3. I went through 300 episode guys, but I gotta talk me some Star Wars. So we're going to have a little bit of the other side of the Star franchise. Joined again.
The other side of the Star franchise.
Yes. It has the word star in it. It's totally relatable. But again, joined by Philip and Daniel. Philip, when did you first see a Star Wars picture? Was it
when I was given $10 and
it could have been. Hey, it could have been.
And go
$10 for a movie ticket. Wow, that was a lot. premium experience.
God, I'm trying to scratch my brain. I think I'm an old person now. I think it's probably similar to that other franchise, because I think my dad VCR'd some Star Wars movies. Obviously,
okay, when they would like broadcast them on television.
So I've never saw any of the original franchise trilogy in the theaters.
Even on the re-release?
No. No. I think my first Star Wars movie in a theater was Force Awakens.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even think I saw any of the sequels in the theater. I mean, I've seen them, of course. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's how I saw it. It was, taped off TV in the early 80s or possibly late 70s. And so, yeah, I got the TV version of the movie.
I was going to say, it makes me wonder. I don't know what the difference, if there is a difference in the TV version, but
there's obviously 75 versions of.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Finding that is going to be tricky. What about?
So I saw. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good. So I know many people kind of first saw it on either TV or like the gold or silver box sets. One was widescreen, one was full screen. Don't watch the full screen. I don't want to talk about it, but what about you, Daniel? Were you also watching it on a 13-inch television at home? Was that your first experience, or was it on the big screen?
I had those tapes. I remember the gold and the silver ones. We had both of them. I don't know why we had both of them.
I was going to say, I don't know. Because you bought the full screen and then you realized it was half the movie, so you went back and bought the widescreen.
Well, as a kid, I think I remember watching, preferring that just because I didn't like the black bars. I was
that's true. Yeah.
So I watched them all the time. I remember watching them over and over again. And then I saw the special editions in the theaters, and then I saw all the movies in the theaters. I guess all the movies up until episode 9, and that's when I stopped watching. So
many people have. So
in the because obviously I know the lore goes deep, but as far as sort of we'll call casual Star Wars fan, as far as casualness, I've seen everything except have not seen Solo. As did apparently many people didn't. But I've not seen the last two films. So the last film I saw was Force Awakens. Well, I'm not, and Rogue One. I can't remember what the order. But anyway,
the Force Awakens was first, and then so pretty much you stopped after Rogue One, which isn't a terrible spot to stop. So
sorry, I don't know anything about other than I've heard about it, but I've not physically seen Last Jedi or Rise of the Skywalker.
All right. Well, for me, I definitely first caught it on the VHS box set, and then I still remember the commercial. It's still one of the best commercials. When they did the re-release right before the special edition. Actually, no, this is the special edition that came out in theaters, and I just remember that ad where it was like a tiny television in the middle, like a television within your screen is all small. And it's like, for an entire generation, this is the only way you've seen Star Wars. And then, the X-Wing blasts out and it goes full script, full screen, and the music kicks up. And I was like, oh, I'm hooked. And then it was like, I think it was like a 3-month event where like 1 month they showed the first movie, and then they showed Empire, and then they showed Richard, like, because I remember it went into like February or something like that. But that was great marketing. Got me hooked. But even then, I enjoyed it, but I was still a true Star Trek fan for ages. Like, I like Star Wars, but I definitely liked it more later in life.
I think the marketing that I most remember is because this was usually, obviously, when most things people remember is when you're like high school, college. Because it was my first year of college is when Episode 1 came out. And so I just remember that first trailer. And like, for some reason, I think I don't even know if I watched it on TV, but I remember this would be like I don't think it was Winamp. Maybe it was Real Player, but it was just like, that was the first time seeing the trailer, but it was like high quality. But yeah, I just remember the crunch in the jungle or whatever.
I'm trying to remember if that was in the era of like
the marsh.
Apple trailers, because I remember going to like apple.com/trailers like all the time. Yeah. So might have been. I mean, that was the era where people would go to the movies to see the trailer, like to watch some whatever, and then like walk out. They're like, okay, I saw it, which just seems crazy nowadays, because that would have cost you like $40 just to do nowadays. But yeah. All right. Well, again, our fair listeners, we do appreciate you bearing with us as we chat a little bit of Star Wars this week. I'm sure some Trek will slip in there, as it tends to do. Yeah, like I said, I always enjoyed Star Trek a little more. Just part of it was like, it's a movie franchise versus a television franchise, like hundreds and hundreds of hours spent with these characters versus like 2, so I think that was, as everyone always compared it with like, oh, it's got the word star in its name, so we have to, they're fighting now apparently because, over who is the better Star franchise. But nowadays, things have changed, where the advent of technology and Disney purchasing Star Wars in 2012, we now have a lot of, Star Wars in television, or, Disney Plus, but still it's episodic. It's, more hours of things. And especially nowadays, I sound like an old man. Back when Star Trek was 26 episodes, nowadays we're lucky when we get 10. But today, through this great wind-up that I'm pitching, we're going to be talking about Andor, the 2022 12-episode, $270 million budget show, which shortly, I believe early next year, we should be getting season 2. But this is the prequel to Rogue One, which is the prequel to A New Hope. So Daniel's right in his wheelhouse with prequels, as long as the actors don't play their own, generations. I guess we're okay. But yeah, this I first saw back in 2022, and obviously been a big fan of the character, and was a little sad that K2SO didn't pop up in this particular season. But I know we'll be getting him next year. But Philip, the first time you saw this was also on airing, I believe. It's been a little while for refresh.
Yeah. Now, I don't think it was because you'll have to help my mind about chronology of Star Wars TV series. What was the immediate TV series before this one?
Well, it would have been Mandalorian was definitely first. Mandalorian
season 1.
Yeah. Now you're asking specific questions.
Yeah, because while you're looking this up, so Andor, I remember I didn't watch it right away when it popped up because I'm not a diehard, but I kept hearing the buzz about Andor, like, oh, this is the greatest series, Star Wars series, because I'm trying to remember what came before. And so, for some folks, because like I love Mando, my wife does too. But I think at this point in the limited, however many there have been so far of Star Wars shows, Mando is now cringe, I guess, and like, whatever. But like this Andor was what it was all about. It was epic. It was what
what everybody wanted. Everybody wanted this.
I mean, that's what I was hearing, and I'm like, okay, I'm happy to see what all the to dos about, and so watched it. And I won't go to everything. That's what the whole purpose of this episode is. But I like my head was not blown. But I mean, I enjoyed it. But I think that it was just such built up when I finally got to watch it. And I was like, okay, I mean, it's. But you may disagree and think that it's best thing since sliced bread. But like, I mean, that was going into it when I was watching it.
Yeah, so Andor actually was quite deep in the television. So we'd already had Mandalorian, which was 2019. And we'd had a couple seasons of that. Book of Boba Fett was 2021. Obi-Wan even was mid-year of 2022. And then Andor was not till like September. So it was like the fourth or fifth show to come out.
Because I felt like, at least from the outside, like it was a reaction to like, because I think Mando 2 had come out too. So, but like, some people, not me, some people are like, oh, wet fart after season 1. And then they were like, oh, Boba Fett, Blue, and then like, oh, well, this is a failure. Star Wars on TV is a failure. But then, no, this is the show that makes it all worth it. So that was, to me, the vibe.
Yeah, no, and it did have a lot of hype around it. One of the things with Andor that helped me when I first watched it is someone, I think before I even watched it, they outlined it as it's a series of mini arcs. And if you think of it that way, it helped me like process it more, because you have kind of like, you have the heist arc, which goes, or you have kind of like Cassian's past, for like an episode or two. And then you have like the heist arc for like 3 episodes. Then you have the prison arc for a few episodes. And then you Prison Break. And then you have the, the Rick's Road, back on, fight the Empire.
Revolution.
Yeah, the Revolution arc. So that helped me kind of parse it out. But even on this rewatch, because I don't think I'd rewatched it until recently. And of course, because I knew, as I started watching, I'm like, then in one day I watched like half the season, because it's just like boom, boom, boom. And some episodes are 30 minutes and some are like 50, and some like there's definitely varying run times. But I was like, oh man, I had forgotten. In the beginning, it is a slow burn. Like it takes a while to get going. So all that prelude. Now, Daniel, you may speak. So this was your first time watching Andor. I gave you some homework and said, this is a really great show. You should watch it.
And he's like, there's not an antenna in sight.
You humored me.
Yeah, it was good. I'll say that. So I saw Rogue One, and I'm gonna have to ask questions about it, because I wanted to watch that too before about time, and because I can't remember, it's been so long. Like you said, K2SO, and I'm like, oh, was he Andor's robot?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when those when those robots do show up, I'm like, oh, is he going to be buddies with him? And he's like, oh no, that must not be K2SO. Okay.
Right. I think the reason we saw the KX unit in the beach scene was kind of a, hey, don't forget these exist moment, because we're not sure when we will see him in season 2. I'm hoping towards the front end, but it could be the episode before the end. Who knows? But yeah, his meeting and reprogramming of K2 will happen in season 2. There's actually some theories by fans that part of B2's memory might be incorporated into him. Little red squarish droid, because some of B2's mannerisms are kind of similar to K2SO's. So again, all theory, nothing has been shown yet, but yeah, he is not in this season yet.
Yeah, so because I remember, from that movie from Rogue One, I didn't care for Andor the character. That is really boring.
Okay.
And
there were a lot of really interesting characters in Andor, in Rogue One. So I understand, he's kind of the second lead. Like it's not like, cause it's Jin's story, right? But he's like the first male lead, which is an interesting role. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I still don't like him, like even after the show. And honestly, him as a character, I don't know if maybe I just don't like the actor. I don't know what it is. Like I just find him annoying. Like I just like boring. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this guy.
He's a little whiny. He's a little like the world's out to get me, and everyone else is like he needs to grow up, and he spends a lot of this season growing up. Yeah,
I honestly, when you just mentioned the arc thing. That was something that sort of rubbed me about it. Like when, like obviously like you said, it was very discreet. Like the ending of the whole heist part.
The heist arc, yeah.
Yeah, and then like, okay, cool. That obviously something different's going to happen now. And then he just like meanders around and then like goes to this planet and just gets arrested for nothing. And I'm like, this is so bizarre. This is like the strangest thing. I like all the other characters, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But I just wanted to bring that up because I was like, and obviously the lesson is you did this. You have to like take responsibility for the fact that you kind of made things worse. And this is, but it was just like I watched it. And I'm like, why is he getting like why? It's just like it was so bizarre to me. It's such a weird way to sort of teach him
because he's on a journey. And and that journey, because he even says it to Marta. He's like, it's basically showing if Marta had gone with him and they're like, oh, let's just go live in another planet where the Empire isn't. It's like, no, the Empire's everywhere. Like there's nowhere to escape. And so that's half of the lesson he's learning, is that they're everywhere. And then the other half is, you ratcheted them up to 11 and they're like, you looked at them the wrong way and you get 10 years of prison. So,
and I think to me, again, been a hot second, but even Rogue One, which has also been 2 hot seconds since I've seen, but as I recall from Rogue One, with Cassian, to me, and let's zooming out, Star Wars, which I've engaged with a lot, but still not necessarily my franchise. But the Cassian character brought nothing to me in Rogue One. I mean, I guess he was sort of like Han Solo on steroids, because it was like, he's not just a rogue. He's a rogue that kills and doesn't care because it's it's for the cause. And, he has no limits. I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm supposed to like this character. And then in Andor, it's like the prequel. And I'm like, okay, so this character I really don't like, you're going to build a series around. All right, let's see. But then I think, and again, you'll have to refresh my memory, but to me, he has no I want. Like, I don't know what this guy wants other than to avoid. Like, I mean, obviously that's classic storytelling, the call to arms, but like it goes on the whole time. Like the whole series is him not wanting to do anything and being drawn into everything. Yeah. Other than not getting arrested, that's apparently his. I mean, his mother.
Everybody wants to not be arrested, but
he is the weakest part. Just like I think, honestly, Rogue One. He's the weakest part of this show too. Like I don't, as a character, I just don't understand why we're following him. But everything that's in his orbit is cool. Like I'm like, this is super neat. I really like what's happening.
And you're not wrong, Cassian. Like I will definitely say, like Cassian's not my favorite character, like at all. But you're right. The orbit around him, like the world building and the. I mean, I did find I remember the first time watching this, I found myself every time they cut to Mon Mothma's plot line, I sat up a little. I was like, oh, okay. And now, because that's a very interesting story. And that's where like the writing is really shining, where the tension, the subterfuge, the political, like all of that great stuff. And then, because overall kind of Cassian, like the heist is cool. Like that's kind of the first high point for Cassian's arc, but really not till like the Narkina 5 does his story really get going. But like you said, Daniel, it's the characters in his orbit that are much more interesting. You have insert name here. And no, yeah, I'd say like Luthen, he's very interesting. Cyril even, Cyril's an very interesting character, but also, the escaping prisoners from Narkina 5. So yeah, I think we all agree, like, the characters orbiting Andor are the most interesting part of this show, which isn't bad. It's not like the show failed because of that. It's just your lead isn't the most interesting man in the room. So, of course, we're going to look at elsewhere.
I have to do it random. So, Daniel, I don't know if you remember the actress in this, Virata Sethu. I may be saying that wrong. She played Sinta Kaz. She's basically an Indian-looking young woman. I don't know if she actually.
Okay, yep.
I apologize if I mischaracterized. Yep. Next Doctor Who companion.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, all right. So you mentioned the guy, right? The old guy. I can't remember his name now.
Luthen.
Luthen.
Yeah.
Skarsgård.
Played by
Skarsgård.
right?
Which, like, Skarsgård, man, we've seen him in like a ton of stuff now.
Is he an Andor original?
On retainer in Disney?
No, he is not.
So this is he was he.
This
before?
was the first time he was in Star Wars.
Okay, this is the first time. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know if I was supposed to know his character or like
the only characters that we see that have been in Star Wars before are Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera, Andor, and Menchi, one of his prison buddies. He's actually in the group that goes to attack the planet in Rogue One. Like, they had the same actor come back.
And so
this is like where they meet. Like, they're prison buddies, basically. So those are the only 4 actors or characters that are not new.
Did I was just thinking, because we were talking about Andor the character, and I'm like, everybody around him, like, you don't want to be around this guy because shit goes down.
He's
like,
bad news. He's very bad news. Yeah.
Like, everything dies, everything explodes, everything, like, it's just not good to be around him. And then I was like, because Andy Serkis, he doesn't escape, right? Does he? Because he says it can't swim, and that's the last
we don't know.
Yeah.
I think there have been in the years since something saying that we believe we will see him in season 2. Okay. But it is intentionally left vague. Like, we don't see him die, but we also don't see him live. So it is unknown at this time. Because, yeah, everyone was like, "Aw, like, you deserve to escape." Like, it's hard. Yeah, it's
because you think of it from his perspective, right? And he's on his way out. However many days he had left.
Right. He didn't have much.
Andor shows up. They start killing all these hundreds of people at a time. Then there's a giant prison break, and they're murdered away. And then he gets stuck, marooned down this stupid prison that he can't escape from because he can't swim. And I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. Like,
right.
That's why you shouldn't form a union.
No,
is that not
no, that's not the message of the story.
Okay.
Well, and it's interesting because obviously he'd been there a while, and I have to assume that he had forgotten that they were on an island because, obviously he would have seen that when he came in. But you also don't see the outside for, years at a time. Yeah. So,
really bumped me. Like, why? There's no possible Star Wars would never have them. Like, I didn't understand why there was prison labor when there are robots that do everything already.
The ultimate prison labor.
And in fact, the robots take the things that they build from the prison and obviously.
They're in space, but yes, no. No, you're right. I mean, I have to assume, it's a valid question. I have to assume it's literally something for prisoners to do because, they're arresting massive amounts of people. So it's, and the Empire's known for slave labor. Like, they use Wookiees, they use, they build their mega projects with slave labor. So you're not wrong. Like, but I'm sure there's it's cheaper to have humans do it than droids, or like droids are more valuable.
Yeah, there's a line that they say that or something. And,
droids cost money.
Yeah, sure.
Right,
then you
that's
have
true.
One droid, make another droid, and then you now have 2 droids. There you go. So,
but yeah, the Narkina 5 arc is probably, many people hail it as like the highlight of the show. Is very interesting. it's kind of a little terrifying because it's very, like, obviously we don't have actual electrical prisons like that, but it's very real in its totalitarianism, in its control, in its despair. And I think that's why you connect with a lot of the characters, especially Kino Loy, the Andy Serkis's character.
He's good. He's everywhere. He gets a lot of work.
Further thinking about Cassian, just because I'm watching it lately, because I had never seen Better Call Saul, and so I finally watched that and finished it. So now I'm watching Breaking Bad because got to keep going when you watch the prequel. And so, but I mean, Cassian theoretically, and especially where Cassian ends up from Rogue One, I mean, there should be a parallel storytelling between this anti-hero and Breaking Bad between Walter White, but like, because then you would argue, Walter is there's a hesitancy and a sort of events pull him, not necessarily than him, but then I mean, he does take control as a character after a while. Like, obviously, he has to clear what he wants, money for his cancer, but like then he becomes, I really like being a drug guy, but like with Cassian, like. Because how many episodes? Because it wasn't was it 10, 12?
12. This was 12 in a season. It's quite a bit.
So I felt like, and maybe because I haven't seen it recently, maybe the last 2 episodes, with his mother figure dying, he finally finds something to do. But like, he never takes that like, and now I want to. Something.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it as a downside, but he literally finishes the arc of joining the rebellion in 12 episodes. Like, it takes a while. This whole season is about him, and now he's with, working with Luthien. So, yeah, it is not like you're going to see him in the rebellion. It's like, we're going to see how he gets there, and it's going to take a while. So you're going to get a lot more of that, obviously, in season 2, which has a very different structure.
Because I feel like the potential, like with any series, I'm trying to think of others, which I mean, maybe Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul is actually a good example, but I won't go into it. But like where Andor is like, oh, it's about this one character, but it's not. It's actually an ensemble piece about all these, which it is, about all these different characters. But I think it is an interesting storytelling opportunity because, again, there's not that much in the movies. There's only so many you can do in a bunch of movies. But like the Rebel Alliance is this cacophony of diverse people that are all there for different reasons. Some are true believers, some just like killing people, everyone. And so, but I like the story of like how everyone gets to joining this thing. And so you have this cast, but everyone else like, oh, they're rich and funding it, or they're over here and, pretending to be this and that, or someone who's 100% rebel from the beginning, true believer.
No, and that's very true because in the original Star Wars and even Rogue One, it's very much presented as like the Rebel Alliance, like they're all pulling together. It's like they're not, like they all have their own views, and it is not nearly as structured as the government, as the Empire is. So having Luthen's story with Von Mothma, very interesting, very very political. There's also Dedra Meero, so the ISB. So you're kind of inside the Empire, but also, so it's like you're rooting for her to get that promotion, but you're also like, but you're really bad. So I kind of don't want you to get that promotion. So it's a really interesting focus. Daniel, what'd you think of Dedra and just the inside the Empire-ness of that arc?
I really like all of the sort of world building that comes with that council or whatever. I don't know what they were, but
the ISB. They're the Imperial Security Bureau.
Well, were they all ISB? Or I thought she was specifically ISB.
No, all the white shirts are ISB.
They all were.
Her whole headquarters, her whole department. She was like a lieutenant in the ISB. Actually, I have to check. So the lead guy, the guy at the
old guy.
That is. He's also a known character, recast obviously, but I'll have to look it up. But he's a known ISB lead guy. Okay. I think he was like one of the guys at the table in the Death Star in A New Hope.
Okay. Okay.
Which anyway, but she's deep in the Empire weeds.
Yeah. I liked all that stuff, like all those characters. It was cool to see this sort of bureaucracy on the Imperial side, and like sort of the cutthroatedness. Deidre was a little, for me, she was like a little over the top with like how ambitious and evil she was. Like she was just like, just the way she was. Obviously, she was very aggressive. And then there was the really weird, because in the beginning I really liked that Cyril character.
Right. Cyril's an odd guy. Like
in the beginning I liked him, and then I don't really know. Like I didn't even know there was a season 2, so until you mentioned it. So I'm glad to know that there is, because by the end of this whole thing, I'm like, why did we even meet this character? Like, why did we spend time with his mom? Why? What? Well, there's nothing happens to this character that's interesting. I don't know what.
Honestly, Cyril, I just thought of this, but Cyril is
blue
like
milk. You got to see the blue milk.
Jeez.
He had cereal with it.
That's true.
True.
No, I was gonna say Cyril is like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, where he shows up really early, but he doesn't have a part to play in the big moment of the narrative until like the very end. That's my guess on him. Like I don't know if he's going to flip and be on the rebel side or make a choice at the end, but they're kind of setting him up for that. Like where he's believing in the proper order and the company, but it's running him through the ringer. Like he's not getting rewarded for those views.
I almost wonder, and again, I'm not pushing for more prequels, because as I say, the interesting story about the Rebel Alliance origins, but there is a missing gap. I mean, for me, and again, I don't know how deep I want to get into the franchise, but like about, at the end of episode 3, to me, the creation of the Empire makes sense, quote unquote. Will not make any modern parallels. But like of where, the strong man who has probably artificially created this threat. But anyway, that makes sense about like, we will sacrifice these things,
for safety, Senate. Quote unquote.
Yeah. And that's 100%. I get it. But like to then, I say flash forward, but I mean, but this episode 3 and Andor. I mean, I don't know how many years. I know.
Yeah, so episode 3 to A New Hope is about 20 years, because that's the lifespan of Luke and Leia. So this takes place 5 years before A New Hope. So we're like
15
years into the Empire.
Because to me, then the question of like, okay, so this whole thing about Andor creating the rebel, but like this cacophony, well, I don't know how to use that word, but anyway, on this. What's the word I'm looking for? The officer core of the Empire. Like, how did like evil get created in 15 years? Like, because you can see people having to like sort of stumbling into, I'm just with the system, and now the system's like this. So okay, I'm starting to see things, a little gray than black and white.
I see what you're saying.
But the evil class that we're now at 15 years later of like whatever. I know there's the obvious Nazi German examples. Obviously, that would happen very quickly too. But like it just that piece of like, why do they suddenly want to be evil, or
Well, and I think what they kind of establish in like the prequels is, because everyone says like, it became the Empire. It's like, but remember, the Republic, it was the Republic. Like the Republic was corrupt. It did have, and it basically it got to the tipping point, and then Palpatine pushed it over where the Republic, the Empire is the Republic. It's just now under his, it's under his, so the corruption was always there. It just now it's like heightened and celebrated. So
was the civil service of the Republic like, how many people do we get to kill today? I just didn't know that.
Right.
They mentioned Palpatine a couple times, and I was thinking, are we going to see him? And obviously we didn't. And I'm wondering, because Mon Mothma, and they actually show the same Senate chambers from from the
There's like nobody there, nobody cares anymore.
And I was like, is Palpatine, like, what is he doing out in the day? Like does he spend his time in like arguing for more?
No, he just does exactly what he wants, and then
pile of pads on his desk.
But where is he? Like, what is he like? He must make public appearances and
not really. He's very well, because remember, he's all scarred and deformed from his attack. But yeah, he's very much cloak and dagger.
But he's around. Like, does he still use the same office? Like if you needed to one-on-one time.
Well, yeah, he's in the Imperial Palace. But yeah.
So, like, does Mon Mothma talk to Palpatine from time to time? Is anybody ever like, hey, you're real evil, dude?
Nobody gets to see the wizard. Nobody. No how.
It's kind of like that, but no. Well, and then, the interesting. So this takes place. So talking about the timeline a bit, because I'm glad you brought that up, Philip. So this show takes place 5 years before Rogue One and A New Hope. And it takes roughly a year-ish of time, in story, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. What's really going to be interesting is season 2 and they've said this is how they're going to do it. So there's 4 years left between the beginning of season 2 and Rogue One. And so what they're going to do is, it's going to be 12 episodes again, but every 3 episodes are going to be a year. So it's going to fast track through that entire span. So the first 3 will be 1 year, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. So leading us right into Rogue One, which leads us right into A New Hope. So it's going to be very interesting to see how and that might help the structure as well, because your arcs, you will have very defined 3-step arcs. But I think initially when Andor was pitched, it was going to be like a 3 to 5 year show, and then it got cut down. So it's like we gotta get to Rogue One, so we're gonna fast forward, wrap it up. But I didn't know you didn't realize there was going to be a season 2, Daniel. So I'm glad, and that does make a lot of sense, especially with Cyril. It's like it's a lot of setup for he doesn't get a lot of payoff in this season.
Well, and then of course, what happens to when Andor teams up with Luthen at the end or whatever, and
right.
like makes sense now. I just didn't know that they were going to do more, which just makes sense because there's a lot of hanging threads that didn't get resolved. So.
It's a lot of setup. Season 1 is.
Well, I think to me, I hadn't officially heard. I mean, I know people are always interested, but I hadn't. But it's been a few years. I mean, it's not like a lot, but it's been more than one.
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
So, it kind of kills momentum when like season 2, I don't know, see Prodigy, takes more than 1 year to come out, and people are all like, I've moved on and forgotten about it already. I'm not saying it's not going to be good, but I mean, that kind of hurts the.
Yeah, that's just kind of television nowadays, at least for streaming. I mean, look, Stranger Things, look, many things that are spread out. So overall, it'll only have been 2.5 years between, which isn't you're living in the UK, Philip. You know about Sherlock and taking its sweet time to come out, but no, you're right. I think as soon as possible, because we should be getting it probably first quarter next year is when season 2 should be dropping.
Yeah.
We don't have an actual date, but
I mean, we're watching Agatha all along, and I mean that's technically a sequel not only to WandaVision but to Doctor Strange,
right?
Too,
which is
and that's
ages
been
ago.
several years. Yeah. So
it's the slow burn.
Yes, productions take so long these days.
Are they going to make Mon Mothma kill her husband?
Her husband is a piece of work. I hate it. We're meant to hate her husband.
And the child too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Her child's just being manipulated, but it's,
he's because we only see her.
I hate his hair. I hate everything about it.
we only see we had 2 scenes of her in Return of the Jedi. We don't know much about her, but.
Well, we see her a lot in episode 3. We see her more in that. So.
Now, if I'm remembering this correctly, and asterisk if I'm remembering this correctly, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that was an interesting point of view because her social class, her husband, but her husband and her friends, quote unquote, like you could see that, like the again, no real world applications, but like the top 1% are like, hey, we're still the top 1%.
Everything's fine.
We don't care who's in charge. Honestly, we're still doing well and it's not affecting us. But I mean, that's an interesting point of view because like as someone who's watching Star Wars, the original trilogy and maybe even more than that, but like you just think, in the Empire, everything is dark and dead and evil. And there's like people are living it up and having parties because, hey, don't affect us.
Right. Right. And that makes it, I think, more real. And that's good storytelling is it's not just, the first Star Wars is very much like these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Like, it's very cut and dry. And so Andor is, adding some nuance into that. But that makes engaging stories.
Because Andor murders that guy just because he was had a plan to make off with the money or whatever. And I was like, oh, you shot that guy,
right? But I mean, what else is he going to do? Like, I don't know, or that guy will shoot him.
I guess. I don't know. Did he? I don't think he said he was going to do that, but that's fine.
This is like a choose your own adventure. Like, pulls gun in you. It says either split it or kill me. What do? Take the money. Turn to page 76. Shoot him with blaster. Turn to page 101.
Kind of. But yeah, and then as we're rounding third here, there's some great speeches in here. You have the manifesto in the earlier episodes that is really good. Luthen has a really good speech that everyone clamors about. Basically his, a man planting trees, shade of which I know I will never see, as he knows, he's like, I'm building something, but I will not be able to live it in it, or it won't get here until after I'm gone. So
now go ahead, Daniel.
I was just going to say, when he was doing that, and actually kind of the whole thesis of the whole show, right? Because I was like, and I don't like Andor, so that's my bias. But I'm like, they could have called this show. Yes, they could have called this show Star Wars Rebels. And I'm like, wait, they can't do that.
Well, they already did. But I know what you mean.
They should have called it Rebellion or Rebellion Born or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they should have, because that's essentially what this is.
Birth of the Rebellion. Yeah,
that's the thesis of the show. But anyways, when he was giving that speech, and I'm like, he is working very hard and spending all this money and doing all this stuff, and so is everybody else that's involved in this birthing of this rebellion. I'm like, really? They're doing a lot of work, and all they needed to do was just find a plucky little guy, on a backwards farm planet, and he'll just do everything. It's fine. He'll save the whole galaxy by himself. We don't even need all this stuff.
He needed an X-wing and a base to launch it from,
and a plan that was revealed. Yeah,
that's true. But I get what you're saying. But
and a fleet that would distract everything.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, no,
and those bases on Hoth don't build themselves, Daniel.
So yeah, and then again, you have Saw Gerrera show up. You have a lot of interpersonal personal characteristics, and I'm glad they kind of dropped him looking for his sister thing pretty quick, because that kind of goes nowhere, But he obviously is interested in Bix, and I again, a lot of things that other people praised, and how did this look to you, Daniel? Is they praised, like, this was the first show not to be shot in the volume. Maybe there was a scene or two, but the vast majority of it. The volume is that 30-foot room that really made The Mandalorian possible. So it's all
green screen,
a high definition. No, it's LED. It's a high definition LED screen that shows, and they use it for like room extension continuations. It basically made, so like, for example,
Disney makes their movies.
Yeah. So like there's like a scene in The Mandalorian where he's like walking through like a cave valley, like that is all the backdrop, but it's so high res, and that's where the technology is new enough. It's so high res that you can shoot it into the camera and you're not adding it later. So that's called the volume. So some people have it, like any tech, there are good uses of the volume and there are poor uses of the volume. So there are ways to do it well and there are ways to do it poorly. And Mandalorian season 1, I think everyone agreed, did it very, very well. So, but there's been some pushback, like I think like Quantum Mania used it and other things have used it like poorly. So all that to say, people really liked that Andor was very practical. I mean, they built, Rick's Road. Like, you feel like that's a place that you are. So, how did you like just the locations, all the places we went, and the, how that added to the fabric of the galaxy?
I thought it was, I thought it was well done. I didn't I didn't know about that at all. I did feel like when they were actually on the planet, like I felt like they were, because they did a lot of exterior shots and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This feels like actually being somewhere instead of just green screen, even though if it was or not. But I definitely got that sense that it felt built, like it actually like not just digitally built, but like physically built. So I thought that was cool. Yeah.
How much more Tatooine was needed?
Yeah.
I feel like
no. Well, yeah, and even Coruscant was a lot of was shot like that walkway they're walking over or that courtyard, and then they would just paint out the background to be the Coruscant skyline. But yeah, it was very grounded in feeling. Again, I think the highlight is the Ferric set. It just felt like a very real planet. Well, a city on a planet. I mean, we only go to one city, but yeah, very real feeling. Which is why it at $270 million, that's like a movie budget. But one of the things, like I'm glad we got this as opposed to Andor the movie, because it's a miniseries basically, and so we're getting tens of hours of time with these characters, and you can have the slow burn, and you can reveal new characters. And I mean, like I said, everyone loves the Narkina 5 arc, which doesn't show up till over halfway through this show. It's not what it's about. It's not the key point. But when you get there, you're like, oh, this is great. But that wouldn't have made sense as like an episode 1 or a chapter 1,
Yeah. I didn't feel the production felt like it didn't feel cheap. Yeah, I felt like it felt like they were spending money on it. So, and of course, like there's 52 characters in the show, so
there are a lot of characters. You're not wrong there,
because I can definitely see what a lot of people would like something with Mando when it's like usually just two people talking, in a desert or something, and it's like I can definitely see where that would feel sort of empty and lifeless sometimes, but like. Here it was like there's always lots of people doing stuff, and it's like in an actual place. It definitely felt like there was some stuff behind it.
Yeah, I think, and again, I'm only going off the movies I've seen and TV series I've seen, but some of the movies or Star Wars, I think, has a tendency to have a lot of great characters and want to juggle multiple storylines, and then by doing that. And they all have potential, but then ends up shortcutting because, like when you said, like as I picture Andor the movie, there'd be so many wipes about like,
and now
Cassian
we're here.
Is doing this, and then shoom back to now, Coruscant, and then shoom now back to shoom. It'd be like every 10 minutes.
No, you're right, and that raises one other question I want to ask you both. Is there's a lot of nonlinear storytelling going on in this season, especially with Cassian's past in the very beginning, where we're kind of slowly revealing, he was on this, planet and it was mined and there was a disaster and it like wiped out all the adults. And so, but it's told in a very nonlinear way where we're cutting back and forth to it. Was it too much? Like it was, for me, it was almost too much where we're seeing Cassian leave the room and then all of a sudden, like you almost don't realize you're back in time with young Casa. But maybe how did that come across to you, Daniel? Was it too much intercutting? Did you want, it's like too much memento, but
prequel.
We need the first episode to just be about Cassian getting found. And then we do a time jump.
Well, I don't know if that's part of the backstory that he tells in the movie, but I didn't know what the point was. And then I guess we get to the point at the end, but it's like, I also was like, wait a minute, what does this woman do where she goes to another planet and just finds, I don't know what they're doing there. Like, why are
she's
they
kind of like
too?
A privateer, I'm guessing,
okay.
Like, stealing, like, oh, we heard about this crash. And so we're going to take what we can before the Republic shows up.
Okay. I mean, it was just weird because like, then she saves him even though like the rest of the kids are right outside or whatever.
Well, they had left. They had run away, but yeah.
But like they're still not far and they have spaceships. So like, you know what I mean? Like
she's not a humanitarian. She's just a privateer.
So she just thought she could get something out of having Andor, I guess. I didn't. And then I guess the point was like she saves him or whatever. But
right.
I didn't know that it was necessarily worth all that jumping around, like, because there's a lot of scenes of the young kids like very cautiously approaching this spaceship and like, these dead bodies, and like, and I'm
I
like,
think especially since we don't ever do anything with the sister, it's like, now maybe that'll come into play in season 2. I don't know.
Ah, yes, a sister.
It may come from, you know, the one line he has in Rogue One where he's like, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. Like he says that, and it's one of the known lines. So maybe they felt like, oh, check the box. We have to show him kind of railing against the Empire at a very young age. But he's not 6 in this for sure. So no. I don't know.
Now, because I was having to refresh myself, his father was killed by a droid soldier. Is that right?
His father was killed by the Republic soldiers. It's kind of wrong place, wrong time. And then he was
I just think we're leaning a little bit on the my family was killed by droids, because wasn't it the same thing for Mandos?
No, just man. There no droids killed anybody in Andor. But yeah, in Mando, that's the backstory you're thinking of, where his parents were killed during the Clone Wars by battle droids, and so that's why he hates droids.
Yeah, and just everyone hates droids for some reason.
I know.
That's why they're not allowed in the Mos Eisley Cantina. They can't go anywhere, man.
And by the way, we hate that Barton who says that, but what if a droid killed his father? Huh?
I think
maybe that's
actually,
fine now.
I think that's actually the backstory they've given him, is that, you know, his family was killed by droids, which is why he doesn't like them. But well, and then towards the very end, you have the Rix Road and the big, you know, again, it feels like this is a place with culture and tradition, you know, marching with the stone and the band, which is weird, kind of, you know, Star Wars band playing. But apparently in Martha's hologram message of inspiration, they dub it a little bit, because she does not say fight the Empire. She says F the Empire, actually. And they were like, it's a little too much. So they changed the line in post. But,
you know, I was a little confused, and I think probably a lot of people like that last scene with her hologram and stuff. But I thought that, because she basically gives a call to arms speech, and then sort of that whole thing incites a riot. And it's like I thought we already did this on this planet with all the banging on the thing, and then they've killed all the company people. I'm like, this planet has already started their own rebellion. Like they've already done this. Like 4 episodes earlier.
But that was against the corpos. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. It's just kind of like, well, the old, what it really comes
corpos, Darren. That's terribly offensive.
That's what they call them. I think really the core of the whole show is a line that Luthen says when Mon Mothma confronts him after the heist on Eldani. You know, where he says they've been like we need the outrage. He's like, we've been suffocated slowly by the Empire that it's almost comfortable, and you need, like, yeah, people are going to die, people are going to suffer because of this, but you can't have rebellion if everyone's just, and like Philip said, like the 1%, they're like, yeah, everything's fine. I'm fine in my little corner of the galaxy. So I think, to answer your question, Daniel, that's where it kind of comes back on Ferrix, where, we've never liked corpos. You know, we kicked them out, but this is the Empire. This is bigger, and so they need the rallying cry to stand up and fight with their bricks. So. All right. Well, it was fun rewatching Andor and getting to discuss it. I was really fun to see your insights, Daniel, just on someone having not watched it before. I think we all kind of agreed that Andor is a very much things are happening to character. So maybe in season 2, he'll drive the plot a little more. But still some great writing, some great Star Wars. It's still a very talked about show. I mean, you said, Philip, like there's many years between seasons, but this is one of those shows that people keep talking about, or they say, oh, which show should I start with, or which show should I, make sure I catch. So it's a very highly regarded show. A little bit of a slower burn, at least at the beginning for sure, but it's not necessarily bad to take it all in a step at a time. So I'm glad we got to discuss it. I'm glad you overall enjoyed it, Daniel.
Yeah, not bad.
And I'm glad you also know there's a season 2 now, which they needed Andor will return in season 2 title tag at the very end. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Because if this was a one and done, it would be like, well, what? Nothing happened. Like everything was set up. Yeah. All right. Well, Philip, if someone wanted to find you to talk about your box set of Star Wars sitting on the shelf, I see it right there. Where will they find you?
They can find this wonderful selection of jewelry right here in the back. I'll just take you over here. They can find me on Instagram at CAPTSFUFP.
You're only smiling when you face the camera, Philip. I feel like you're upset when you look away. And Daniel, if someone wanted to talk to you about your new position as hover car driver for the rich and famous, where will they find you?
They can find me at OneUpDan. And I would also like to know who is Palpatine's driver. What is his schedule like? Who's his secretary? I want to know all the things about Palpatine's doing from day to day.
Who's getting Palpatine's coffee?
The man has to use the bathroom at some point. That's all I'm saying.
I saw him. I swear I saw a black cloak go into the lavatory. It probably was him.
Well, I mean, like Palpatine's like Vader. Like you need small doses. We don't want to know all that about Vader or Palpatine. It takes away from the mystique.
I get any calls in, any messages?
Yeah, no. Just sitting in the throne. Okay, now you're in robot chicken territory. Okay,
you set up my tea time.
That is all your answers are in robot chicken, Daniel. Just go rewatch those. All right, and if someone wanted to find me, they could go to drsci-fi.com, DRSCIFI. Well, once again, I am Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gelfus.
I'm Daniel Pruitt.
And stranded here, talking about Star Trek next week here on City Alpha 3.